So we've got an adventure for the day. It's starting to snow, starting to get colder. I still need to use a backhoe. I'm gonna need to use a backhoe all winter, really. If it snows a lot, the backhoe's basically my plow for plowing out my driveway and some of the road, if not all the road, depending on how much my neighbors do. So I need to get these tire chains put on. And I've never done tire chains in a tractor before. Hang out for a minute. Well, it's getting colder, definitely a lot colder. The ground's pretty frozen. Even though the sun's out, it's supposed to be a high of, I think, 34 degrees today, right where I'm at. So I need to get these tire chains put on this tractor so I can use it around my property, use it to plow my driveway if it snows a lot this winter, all of the above. And I've done chains on a car, even actual chains, not just the cables, but actual chains on a car before, but I've never done them on a tractor, and this setup looks a little different. Something I'm not familiar with. So I'm gonna wrap these things up and see what I can figure out. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos on tractor chains, and none of them have these little links. I'll show you these little links here in a second when I get them wrapped up. None of them have these little links for this this type of chain. These things are heavy. The knobs and the tires don't make it helpful to pull them around either. These tire chains came with the tractor, so I'm assuming that they've been on here. They're definitely not new. They've been used. You can see wear marks on them where the links have been run. Come on, baby. So it's these little links right here. I mean, these links I can figure out. Those are just lever links. They kind of hold in place. But these links right here, they're on. Wow, these tire chains are pretty big. They overlap a lot. I don't think that's supposed to happen. Maybe these aren't for this tractor. Alrighty. So there's an opening on this link, and it looks like this has been wearing on the road. You can see where this link has been worn on the road quite a bit, so I know these have been used. I'm not familiar with this link here and what it's used for, and I can't find a video on YouTube on what they're for. These little guys are easy. They're just a little hook into place and they hold. Take up the slack with maybe a bungee or something. For now, I think I'm going to have to measure these out. I'll have to tie them up somehow. Get some of the slack out of them. Measure them up and cut them. Because this is way too long. I mean, this is the end of it. It comes a foot and a half past where the other end is. I know tire chains aren't supposed to overlap like that. Well, let me think about what I'm going to do here for a minute. And see whether, I guess I'm just going to have to cut these and make them fit. Country living, modification of everything. Alrighty, well, let me get a thought process going and I'll get back at you. What I figured is I'm gonna have to cut these. I mean, they're not for this tractor. I've already figured that out when I first laid them around the tires, and they're way too long. Tire chains aren't supposed to overlap. I don't know how much to cut off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off one of these cross things at a time. Probably cut that link and this link, and then I'll spread this little loop apart and pull it out, and the same thing on this side, and that'll get a little bit out of my way, and I can re-stretch them and see if I need to cut another cross piece out of there. I'm going to leave the side ones as long as they are. I'm just going to cut the pieces out, and then the chains that go around the perimeter, I'll cut those last, even though they're way too long right now. So I got it figured out. I got the chains pretty tight. I ended up cutting out 2 of these cross links that go from here across, and then snipping the chain. Now, I didn't have a cutoff wheel for my grinder. I really need a new pair of gloves. These gloves are gone. I didn't have a new cutoff wheel, or a cutoff wheel for my grinder. So what I used is my Bernzomatic torch with some MAP gas. I heated this part up right here where it bends over through the chain, propped it away from the tire, heated it up real good, and used a hammer to kind of tap this through, and that spread these jaws open right here enough to let me loop it out. And then for the links up here, to cut these links on the top, I cut them with a little bit of extra there, and I just used a pair of bolt cutters. I got these bolt cutters at Harbor Freight, 36-inch bolt cutters. I must have got them 12, 15 years ago. They worked pretty good for cutting this. I don't know what this type of steel this is, but and it was a struggle. It wasn't easy, but they cut through it. So I got 2 links cut out, and the chains they're pretty tight, fairly tight. What's going to tighten them up a little bit more is getting this connected right here. So once I get these connected, so the middle pieces around are connected, I think we'll be good to go. And then I just used my tractor, used the little foot there to pick up this tire so I could turn the tire. I'm going to go ahead and take the chains off the other side to cut them to length. And then I'm going to head into town and get some springs to hold I'll cut the part of this chain off. I'll get some springs to hold the ends of the chain tight to another spot, and some type of I have a little U bolts with a bolt that goes through them to kind of bind chain together. I think I'll get a couple of those, maybe 5 or 6 of those. 2 for these on each side, and maybe 2 more in case I need them. Anyways, these chains are pretty wore out. If you look at some of the links, like here, that's a good one right there. You can see that one right there. They've been used. They're pretty well flat. They probably don't have a lot of use left in them, but they'll work for me here until, well, at least for a couple years, I would think they'll work. And when they break, I'll buy a new pair. A pair that's actually made for this tractor, so I don't have to cut and shop and try and modify them quite so much. Anyways, we'll get this thing going, and we'll get some more tractor work done around the yard. But this has taken quite a bit of time to wrestle with these chains, just this one tire, and get them sized properly. I didn't want to cut them too short and then have to weld links back on. Just took my time and did it. Definitely not made for this tractor. It actually might rub on the roll bar on that side. Doesn't have a lot of clearance, but I'll only be going a couple miles an hour and using these anyways. So, till next time, guys, go make something.